and welcome back to the Corruption of Colton podcast, episode 23. I'm your host, Country Colton. Okay, I'll stop. That was probably really cringe. I'm probably gonna cringe listening to that clip when I edit this episode. I am so sorry. But I thought it'd be funny. Anyways, in all seriousness, this is Corruption of Colton podcast episode 23. And the reason that I attempted that country twang redneck accent is because today we are actually reviewing a country album. That's right, we are venturing away from rock and metal and reviewing a country album. I am more known to review rock and metal albums, but I am actually venturing out of my metal roots or metal tendencies, whatever you want to call them, to actually review something different. Actually, my very first album review was a country album, but from there, I had done like maybe 2 album reviews that weren't metal, and that would be my 5 Seconds of Summer review and my Jonas Brothers one. But episodes like 12 through 22 have been hard rock, or metal albums. But we actually are venturing out of that today to review the second studio album by country artist Aaron Lewis, Sinner. Now, the way I actually reviewed Aaron Lewis's albums before, in fact, my only country album review was a review of Aaron Lewis's debut album, The Road. So it's funny that for my second country album review, I'm landing on him again and reviewing his second country album for my second country album review. Now, it's actually pretty funny, but actually the way that my reviews work, the way I pick an album to review for this show is I go into my Apple Music library because I have a lot of artists I listen to. Believe me, I should create like a little short video just like scrolling down the page and showing you all the artists that I listen to. Sorry, my dogs are barking in the background, but I should scroll down and just show you like all the artists that I listen to. And if you scroll down, you'll realize it's a lot from A to Z. Sorry, I'm talking a little louder because my dogs are barking and now my dad's yelling, so and I don't feel like re-recording this because I'm already so far into recording this clip. Anyway, I know that's unprofessional as hell, but I like to do things in one take because it is utter hell to re-record something. I've already re-recorded this bit twice because I basically stuttered way too much in my first attempt of recording this opening. So I just do not feel like doing it a third time. I hate it when my dogs ruin recordings. You know, my dogs bark, then my dad yells at the dog, and that makes its way into the episode. Anybody who's a listener to this show has probably heard my dogs before while recording. My mic has probably picked it up more than once. Anyways, as I was saying, the way I pick my album reviews is I scroll down the artist's page and close my eyes and just close my eyes, scroll, and then click on the screen, and then just open my eyes to see what artist I landed on, and that's who we do an album review of that week. And I just didn't scroll very far this week, and happened to land on Aaron Lewis. And I have far more metal in my collection, which is probably why you get more metal reviews than anything, is because that's just most of my library, but there are some other genres in there. Country's in here, pop's in here, there's even some rap in there that I just haven't gotten to yet. But today we are going to review the second studio album by Aaron Lewis entitled Sinner. A little background on Aaron Lewis. Aaron Lewis was the vocalist for hard rock, alternative, post-grunge band Staind. Anybody who knows Staind has probably heard songs like It's Been a While. That was one of their biggest hits. They had big albums like Break the Cycle. So you guys probably know Staind, even if you don't remember the name. If you look up the song It's Been a While by Staind, you probably will immediately recognize it, as it was everywhere back in the 2000s on the radio. Aside from Nickelback, who had the biggest rock song, How You Remind Me, this song is probably just as iconic. I'm guessing that Along with Nickelback, Staind is probably one of the most recognizable rock bands of the 2000s when it comes to the radio rock spectrum. They're kind of in the same vein as Nickelback, where they're in like that radio rock territory. They kind of share that space with Nickelback in the 2000s. But anyway, Staind, that's where Aaron Lewis is from, and then they split back in like 2010, and Aaron Lewis went to record a solo career of country music, which is pretty split by the fan base. Some people say rock stars shouldn't go country because they don't know anything about the genre, and then some say they should try something else, or they shouldn't try something new. They should just do rock solo albums because they don't have any experience in country. But I think that Aaron Lewis is one of those exceptions where Aaron Lewis has always had a lot of experience in country. He grew up around country music, as he has stated many times, and even some of his songs in Staind, you can tell could work as country songs, and his lyrical writing is definitely influenced by country music. Even in their biggest hit, It's Been a While, you can clearly hear the country influence. So I'd say Aaron Lewis knows a thing or two about country music. I vastly enjoyed his debut, The Road. Heavily enjoyed that. So let's see if I enjoy his second album, Sinner. I've heard it a few times. I've listened to this album, especially because I do have it on CD, but it's been a while. Which, oh my god, thinking to myself just now, literally, you noticed I paused when I said it's been a while because I just realized that's the title of a Staind song. I didn't even intend that. But yes, it's been a while since I have listened to Sinner. So let's go track by track and see if I still enjoy it. Does it still hold up? This album opens up with the title track, Sinner, and it's a great intro. It has this rock and roll country twang intro that you just can't help but love and vibe to. And not only that, but the song features Willie Nelson. Aaron Lewis's vocals sound unapologetic, and you can tell he's really enthusiastic about this country music direction that he has adapted to. And Willie Nelson, despite in his 80s, still sounds great. There's still an amazing vocal delivery here. I know I have not discussed this on the show very much because I've never discussed an album of his yet, but I love Willie Nelson. He really made 60s, 70s country for me, along with people like Merle Haggard and John Prine and Reba McEntire, which, fun fact, Reba McEntire actually helps produce this album. So, overall, this song is just great. Let's move on to the next one. That Ain't Country. That Ain't Country is Aaron Lewis's perspective on modern country music and how he thinks it's not real country music, which I think is very ironic considering a lot of people call Aaron Lewis not country. And they say that he's still a rock star, you know, because people still remember him for being in the 2000s new metal, alternative metal, radio rock band Staind. So a lot of people call Aaron Lewis not country, and people call him a poser. In fact, I have a funny story about that. I've recently joined a Facebook group for CD collectors, and I posted a photo of my Aaron Lewis CDs, because I have the main 4 Aaron Lewis albums on CD. I have The Road, which I've reviewed. I have Sinner, which obviously we're going over right now. And I have the other 2, State I'm In and Frayed at Both Ends. So I have all 4 albums on CD, which I might just put one of them on today. I might put this one on while I'm editing this, this album, Sinner. But anyway, so I posted a photo of those 4 CDs in my collection, and people were calling Aaron Lewis a poser, among many other names, and then people would be replying to these people, saying that Aaron Lewis is great. Someone even replied saying to me, "Don't worry about the crybabies, they'll survive. Aaron Lewis is great." So I thought it was pretty funny. I just made one of the most divided comment sections on Facebook ever. I really got to see just how divided the country fan base is about Aaron Lewis. Some people loving him, some people hating it. I really realized just how divided people are on Aaron Lewis's country era. I personally love it, which is why I'm reviewing it right here, right now. But I just thought it was funny. I found it hysterical just how divided and just how passionately mad people can get about Aaron Lewis and anybody, and just how like the names you can call people who hate him are calling him a poser, and then people who say they like Aaron Lewis, and then people who reply to him will say, if you think he's a poser, you're a liberal. So I've got people calling Aaron Lewis a poser, and then people who like Aaron Lewis calling the haters the liberals. It was just one of the most divided comment sections I've ever heard. It got real political. I mean, people started talking about hating Aaron Lewis's music because of his political views. Then someone would shoot back by saying that you should be able to separate someone's political views from their music, which I totally agree with. You shouldn't care about someone's political views. You should just listen to the music for the music, but that's not the point here. But I just think it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I was laughing so hard at just how butthurt people can get over someone being an Aaron Lewis fan. I got called names just for being an Aaron Lewis fan. It is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I wasn't even bothered by it at all. I was just laughing the whole time. It was great. But yeah, that's why I think this song is very ironic. But I like it too. Aaron Lewis is singing about how he doesn't like modern country music because it's just not country, and he'll just listen to the old country songs that his grandpa would show him when he was younger. So I think it's a great song. But I do think Aaron Lewis's music is country, and I think that most modern country, though heavily influenced by rock, is still country. I still think Luke Combs and Luke Bryant are country, even though they have a little more rock influence. John Party is still country. I would just say that country has shifted. Its sound has shifted to be more rock and roll, and its sound has just gone through some evolution over the years. That's what I would say. I wouldn't say it's not country. It has just evolved. But that's how I feel about country, and I think this is a pretty good song. I like seeing Aaron Lewis's view on modern country music, mainly because I like seeing people's views on music in general. I like to see all the different opinions on music. There's some people who just, it's not just for country music. You know, you have people that love or hate the radio-friendly modern country now, but then there's people who love it, people who hate it. But you could say some people love metal, but then there's some people who hate metal and think it's just freaking noise. There are people who, like me, who aren't a big fan of rap and think a lot of rap songs are very similar, but there are some people who really enjoy it, and I'm not going to knock them for it. There are some people who don't like electronic. You know, there's just, you really could say it for every genre, even though country, and Aaron Lewis needs to get shit on a lot right now, you could say that every genre is suggestive, and that every genre is subjective, and that everyone hates every genre. There's going to be lovers and haters of every genre. I think it's stupid when someone will go, oh, it's just this genre, or people just say this. No, people love or hate every genre. So I love seeing the different divided opinions on different genres and artists and just how subjective it is. And I think this song is great at showing that. Let's move on to the next one. Whiskey and You is a pretty personal and emotional track from this album, where Aaron sings about drinking whiskey to drown the feelings of missing his love, but then the whiskey only makes him feel more empty and depressed. And I really love this track. It's actually in a slower tempo than the rest of the album, which is a much more upbeat, honky-tonk type of instrumentation, a much more upbeat vibe, but this song really kind of slows things down, and there's more acoustic strumming, and strumming, I don't even know what, if that's even a word, but strumming, which is pretty good, but the more upbeat rock influence on it that's on most of the songs is a little bit more absent here, making this more of a slow country ballad. It's pretty good. I love Whiskey and You a lot. It's a song that I definitely come back to every time I listen to this album. This is a song that I look forward to the most. I love it. Northern Redneck pays homage to the redneck culture that we often hear about in country music. I can't really connect or resonate with this song that much because I'm just not too familiar with redneck culture, and I didn't grow up in a country area or small town, and I haven't had much interaction with rednecks, so I just don't really resonate with this song, and I'm also not a redneck myself, so I just can't really resonate with this song. It's just a country song on the album. I like listening to it. I enjoy it, but it's a song that I can go with or without because I just don't have a connection to it. But I listen to it whenever it comes on this album. Whenever I put this album on, I actually put it on today in the CD player to prepare for this album review, and I'm listening to it as I edit this. And I've heard this song like twice today, and still I just don't really resonate with it. It's good. I like it. I even sing along to it in some parts. But it's just not as good as some other songs on this album that I appreciate much more. So, I'd say it's alright. Mama is a song reminiscing about the lessons that our parents have taught us in our childhoods. Like that we should learn how to love and respect others, and also singing about how our parents sometimes wish they could save our souls and protect us when we're older, but they can't because we're adults now and we've branched out into the world. And I definitely relate to, especially that second half where, my parents still want to protect me as all hell to this day. My parents still want to save me in every situation. And they sometimes forget that, I'm 19 going on 20 and, I have to learn how to save and protect myself out in the real world, I think that our parents just always want to be there for us, and sometimes it's hard for them to accept that we're getting older and don't always need them. And I think that this is a great song. I definitely relate to this and think it's one of the best on the album. It's not as good as Whiskey and You. That is definitely my favorite from this album, but this one's definitely a close second or third. I love this song. This is actually an album that I listen to a lot. I listen to Sinner quite often, actually. I have it on CD, and it's probably one of the CDs that I rotate the most. This one's probably going to have scratches on it in the next few months from me playing it so much. I'm going to have to clean it or just buy another copy altogether. This is definitely a great song. Mama's a great song, and this album is just as great as always. I love this song. Remember, take your parents' advice while you still can. If you're a young lad listening to this podcast, if you're in your teenage years or in your preteen years, just take your parents' advice while you still can, because you're soon not going to get it, or you're not going to need it anymore, and you have to learn how to save yourself. So take those lessons from your parents while you still can so that you know how to handle things in your adulthood. Because I did not do that. I kind of just ignored a lot of my parents' advice growing up. So now my adult life is a lot more stressful than it probably needs to be. So don't turn out like me. That's the takeaway here. But yes, this is a great song. And let's move on to the next one. Someday Every Saturday Night is one of my favorite songs off this album. And maybe even one of my favorite Aaron Lewis songs ever. No, it is. Not maybe. It is one of my favorite Aaron Lewis songs ever. It just has this hilarious start. I remember when I first heard it, I burst out laughing at just how absurd the song starts lyrically. You just hear Aaron Lewis go, hold on, I have the CD still in here. I want you to hear that. So, okay, let me go back to restart the song. Okay.
I've seen drunk girls singing karaoke.
That's just a great start. You fade out from the song, Mama. You get this little pause, as the next song starts, and you just hear, I've seen drunk girls singing karaoke. Great. It's a great start. So I burst out laughing hearing that, right? And then the rest of the song is just great. Let me highlight some lyrics and points in this song that I really like. I've seen old-timers pray to their beer, and we all seem to have our sad stories to tell. To me, this sounds like someone who's sitting at the bar with their buddies, talking about their problems, but not in a drunk alcoholic way, but in a healthy drinking way of just using alcohol to kind of loosen yourself up to talk about your problems, but not alcohol to directly solve your problems. There's something really sincere about this song. That's why I like drinking whiskey. It helps me forget all the damage I've done. So it sounds like in the first verse, it sounds like some kind of, healthy alcoholism, but then it gets to be like this more bad obsession with alcohol. It's like the song slowly evolves. It's really good. I love this song. I can't recommend it enough, folks. Definitely check out this one. Lost and Lonely is a song about a trucker's life and telling the story about a truck driver who is often far from home and works really hard to provide for his family, and all he wants is his wife to love him and take care of the house while he's away. It's a really sweet and sincere Aaron Lewis song, and again, definitely a favorite, definitely a song to check out and recommend. This is why I really love country music, is because of the stories that is told through country. I think that I love metal and country, but genres for two different reasons. I love metal for the dark and brooding stories that they can tell, or just the really eerie sound of the music, where country, I come for the storytelling and the melodic vocals that really make you think, right? That's why I love country music. So, you don't have to be a metalhead and just love metal. You can love country too, like I do. I love so much country. Let's move on to the next track. On Story of My Life, Aaron Lewis ponders the thoughts that I think all of us ask ourselves at some point in our lives, and that's, how are we making it? How are we succeeding? And what's our purpose in life? What's our reason to be here? We're all just going to die eventually, and I think this is tackled really well. If you're ever curious about just your purpose in life or why we're here, I would definitely recommend this song. He really tackles this really well and really makes you think about your life, but also make you appreciate your life at the same time. I definitely appreciate mine after listening to this. I would definitely recommend this song to anybody that's, into that kind of thing. Stuck in These Shoes is very well emotionally performed. It's a song about how he feels stuck in these shoes. We're a role model and we're important, but we don't feel like an important person, and we feel like we're stuck living this life, stuck in these shoes. And it's so good, especially from the vocal delivery. You can just hear the sadness in his voice, and the instrumentation on this little slow acoustic back porch playing kind of vibe really does the song well, and the song really serves its purpose and serves its meaning, and it is definitely one of my favorites on this album. I love this track. Please check it out. This one's really high up there with songs like Sunday Every Saturday Night and Whiskey and You. This song is definitely a favorite of mine. I beg of you, if you don't like Aaron Lewis, I think you're going to like him after this. This is a good track. I Lost It All is a song about Aaron explaining that he's going to heaven because he's done his time in hell. And this is a really, really good song. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it or, bury the review in metaphors to get you to understand why I like it or tell some deep emotional backstory. It's just a good song, plain and simple, hook and center. Good song. I love it. And that actually ends all the original material off this album. Because the closing track is a cover song. So let's get into that. This album ends with a cover of, I shit you not, one of my favorite country songs of all time. Which is just, blows my mind that, going into this album, not only would Aaron Lewis do a cover song, which doesn't sound impossible, people do covers all the time, but the odds, all the odds, that he would do a cover of my favorite country song ever recorded, the Dixie Chicks Travelin' Soldier cover. Anybody who knows me knows that the Dixie Chicks is literally my favorite country group of all time. They do not deserve what happened to them back in the 2000s, which is definitely a good topic for an episode in itself. I'm definitely going to talk about this at some point. But, oh man. I did not like this cover at first. I did not warm up to it, but it might be just because I was blindsided by the fact that it's my favorite country song of all time, and I just don't want my favorite country song to be ruined. You know, the Dixie Chicks recording is something special. But sitting down with this album and just taking in all the tracks, I see now how this song belongs on the album and just how great this cover is. This is a duet with his daughter, Zoe Lewis. Actually, back in 2003, there was a song called Zoe Jane on a Stained album. I think it was a Stained album. I'd have to go back and look. But Aaron Lewis did a song about his daughter coming of age back in 2003. And his daughter has a beautiful voice on this track, and it works really well. She does a really good job of singing with her father on this song, and this is just a beautiful ending to this album. I love this cover. And is it as good as the original? No, I'd say the Dixie Chicks still nailed their version. But the Aaron Lewis version is special in itself because it's a duet with his daughter. So this song is definitely a special cover in my heart. And to my heart, I love this cover every time I hear it. Every time I put on this album from now on, I'm probably going to stop skipping this song and definitely actually be listening to this more. This is a great cover. This would go good in one of those playlists where they do originals versus covers. If we're looking at Travelin' Soldier covers, I would rate this as one of the best. So definitely check out this cover if you like the Dixie Chicks. This is a great way to end Sinner. Let's go into my final thoughts. After sitting down with Sinner for multiple listens, I can safely say that it is one of my favorite Aaron Lewis albums. Would it be one of my favorite country albums of all time? Probably not. But that's not to say it's a bad country album. In fact, it's a really good country album. It's just there's a lot of country albums out there. So I can't really rate this at the top of my list when there are such better ones. But this one's still good. You know, I think that this is still a great country album, a great performance, and this album proves that Aaron Lewis's statement that he made a few years ago is true. He has said that he's come full circle musically and can do anything in music that he sets his mind to. And this album proves that. This is a walking depiction. This is a recorded proof that Aaron Lewis can do what he sets his mind to in music. Wouldn't be surprised if he can pull off a rap song at this point, right? You know, he's impressed me with his vocal range in the Stained discography, and now he's impressed me and won me over with his country work. I reviewed The Road on this show, and I thought The Road was a pretty good country album. But this album proves that he's done an even better country album than The Road, and I thought The Road was pretty good and pretty decent, but Sinner's even better. But this still isn't even Aaron's best country album. That actually goes to his next studio album, his third one, Stayed on Main, which I would say is his best work. So to say that Sinner is already pretty good proves that, Aaron Lewis is better at country music than people say he is, because I'm already heavily praising Sinner. But there's an album in his discography that I praise even more, which is State of Maine, which might even be one of my favorite country albums. So Sinner's good, but he's done even better country albums, and that's why I want to say, people who say Aaron Lewis is just trying to please country listeners after leaving Stained, or that it's all just watered down country, wrong. It's actually pretty freaking good. I mean, the cover he does with his daughter on Traveling Soldier is pretty heartwarming and a great way to end this album. Then you've got my top 3 favorites that are just classics. Sunday Every Saturday Night and Whiskey and You, and the Sinner title track, which I can't help but love, and it features Willie Nelson, one of my favorite country artists of all time. I've got Stuck in These Shoes. There are just so many good. I've got like 4 big favorites from this album. I love this one. Definitely please check out this album if you're not convinced that Aaron is pretty good, because he can do anything he sets his mind to. I would recommend this for any country fan, and if you're a fan of Stained, check this out. All right? Check out this album either way, if you're a country fan, a Stained fan, whatever it is. All right? This is a great album. I give this a 9 out of 10. This has been episode 23 of the Corruption of Colton podcast. See you next week, which is going to be Valentine's Day week. So the episode actually will not be out on Monday. This episode's being released on Monday, February 6th. But instead of being out on the February 13th, which is a Monday, I'm going to be releasing it on February 14th. And we're going to be doing a Valentine's Day episode, and it's going to be my favorite love songs of all time. I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite ballads. So, see you guys for that on episode 24.